Kirly-Sue and welcome to my Instagram Live. I'm going to be going live with Laura from Reduction Radar, so I'm just going to bring her in. If you have any questions, oh hello Ms. Dolphin, hi, thanks for joining us. So we're just waiting for Laura to join us, and we're going to be talking today about Christmas food and reducing Christmas and reducing food waste. So let me just go live with Laura. And thank you to everyone, Julie, Corinne, everyone. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm just flicking through your book, actually.
Twins.
Oh, there you go. And we've both got red on.
Yeah, yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. There's lots of stuff in the pipeline for me with the book and so forth, because it opens up a lot of doors. Thank God for that. It really does open up a lot of opportunities. So
yeah,
it's sifting through the opportunities to make sure they're right for me as well.
Yeah. Well, I love the look of the book. I've not managed to make anything out of it yet, but I have been I'm bookmarking things, you see.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I've got this bookmarked, the green smoothie.
Oh, yes, yes. Those are really good. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I've got kale in my freezer. So whenever I get kale reduced, I just will freeze it as it is. And whenever I then get like soft bananas, I freeze those. I've got kale and bananas in my freezer. Okay. And I actually bought this flax seeds a while ago, reduced.
Yes.
And so the only thing I'm waiting for now is reduced apples.
Okay. All right.
And then I've got the whole ingredient list.
Yeah. So I was going to talk about Christmas food and the sort of things that people can make, because veganism is obviously on the rise. Now, not everyone is
absolutely.
Not everybody wants to become a vegan, but there's a lot of people who are interested in vegan food and don't mind it as an option. Thank you for everyone tuning in, by the way. This is really great. So what I did is put together like a menu of recipes that people can find in my book. If you want the book, you can click the link in my biography. So the things are all quite easy to make. And as long as you add the right seasonings and so forth, it's quite easy. So, for example, if you wanted to put together like a Christmas dinner and you want to go to town, you know, starters, main course, dessert and so forth. So you can start off with a butternut squash and sweet potato soup.
It's in your book. I've just been looking at it.
I know.
Yes. I told you. I've been doing my homework.
Yes, very well done. So I think if you roast the vegetables first, before you make the soup, that helps to bring out the flavour. And this time of year, butternut squash and sweet potato, they're not expensive at all to buy.
No, and you know why the reason I like things like that is because I just feel like I can, because I am getting a little bit angsty about Christmas. You know, I think I'm like, oh, it's a couple of weeks away, you know, I want to get the food in. But I like things like the root vegetables because they'll just last for ages. So I can get them now and it'll be no bother waiting until Christmas to make them.
Yes, yeah. So that as a soup for starters, and you can have like a bread roll. In terms of butter to go with it, I like Vitalite.
Okay.
And also in Waitrose, they do a avocado spread. It doesn't really taste of avocado, but it's really good for you, and it tastes nice. And it's the one that's the lowest in saturated fat. It's the lowest fat. That, you know, none of them have no fat in it, but that's the one that I found is lowest in fat. So I usually buy both. I use the Vitalite for baking and stuff, and then I use the Waitrose avocado spread for just spreading on bread.
Right, well, stay there. Now I've got to show you what I've got.
Okay, cool.
Because now you said about the butter, I can't rest. So in my, as if by magic, I've actually got this Tesco soft spread that I got reduced a while ago, and it's really just been sitting in the fridge for absolutely ages, and it's vegan.
Oh, brilliant.
So it's
That's
just
really
there
good value.
really good value. I mean, the price has come off.
Okay.
But I think there's so many places now. It doesn't have to cost a fortune. And sometimes I think that's the misconception with veganism, is that it's expensive.
Some vegan things are expensive, and why they're expensive, I haven't got a clue. But I think there's lots of vegan options that are really cheap. So, for example, you can buy fruits and vegetables, particularly this time of year, very cheap. You can buy a bag of carrots for 40p, 60p. So, you know, you don't have to go for the expensive options. And if you go for a whole food, plant-based vegan diet, it's much cheaper. So you're not buying a lot of secondary processed food. You're buying much more fresh fruit and vegetables. So,
well, yeah, and you're eating better.
Yes, definitely. So on with the menu.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah, so the main course, you can have curry, chickpea and sweet potato pie.
Oh, nice.
So you can make these little pies and you can have it with some gravy, onion gravy. Onion gravy is really easy to make. That's one of the new recipe videos I'm going to be making this week. And then you can have an easy mac and cheese, vegan macaroni cheese.
Oh, lovely.
That's always nice to have on the side. Baked potato and baked potato stars and squares. So you just put them in star and square shapes.
Yeah, I saw that in the book. And I've got baking cutters, so I could just use those, could I?
Yeah, or cookie cutters, any one of those will work, yeah. And then a coleslaw as well is always nice to have some of that. Or you could just do a tossed salad or whatever kind of salad you want to have with it on the side.
Right, but before you move on from the mains, I have to show you this, right? So I bought this in September.
Yes.
And it was gluten flour reduced to 87p.
Oh, right. That's very cheap.
Isn't it just? So it was in a clearance. It was down from £3. And I mean, the best before date was October. But I mean, the best before date is just food quality. It's not food safety. So I've been holding on to this until December for Christmas because, and I wanted your tips, because what I'm thinking to make is a seitan Wellington for Christmas.
That would be really nice. Yes. Yes.
And so, like, what sort of tips, you know, like in terms of, I've done seitan a couple of times, but what sort of tips, like, you think I need for making something like that?
Make sure you marinate and get the flavors in really well.
Right.
Itself is not super flavoursome, so you have to put the flavours in to it. You may be doing this anyway, test it out before Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. So you do like a rehearsal dinner kind of thing. So you don't have a disaster on the day where you think, oh, I should have done this kind of thing. So I always think, yeah, it's good to do like a rehearsal a couple of times if you can. Because for my book launch, I was baking these I wanted to have a big sheet cake with the book cover on it. So I'd been baking it every week up until the book launch, and then I switched it and I decided to make the cupcakes with the book logo on the top inside. Yeah. But I practiced it and I realized that the sheet cake, the problem I had is the topper to go on it wouldn't have been big enough, and you can't get one big enough the size that I wanted. Because the size is only A4 and the sheet cake is a lot bigger than that, so it would look a bit lost. So if you have your preparation time, you'll do really well. I think it'll be
amazing.
Yeah.
And what sort of stuff to season it with then, do you think?
I would use garlic.
Oh, all right. I've got to show you this. I'll be back. I know. It's as if by magic. Well, this is what I've been doing. Is like anything, I've got reduced garlic.
You're really good. Yeah. So fresh garlic.
Yeah. So anything at the moment that I've been coming across, you know, especially like garlic, I know that I'm going to need for Christmas. So anything I've been seeing, I've just been bagging. So I'm a little bit ahead of the game, you know. Because like I said,
that's a really good idea.
Because I think it does
fresh
become
garlic. Yeah, as much fresh stuff as you can. So fresh garlic, fresh ginger. So you chop up it. You only about a little inch piece. You can do fresh garlic. You can also use garlic, ginger, and onions as well. What I do if I want it small, then I've got a NutriBullet. So I'll put the garlic, the ginger, and the onions in the NutriBullet.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
So then it's minced straight away.
Yeah.
So using those three as a base. Like Caribbean seasonings, like seasonal is always good as well. If the recipe calls for it, you can use a little bit of coconut milk or coconut cream that always transforms the whole thing.
Wow.
Super tasty. So.
Because I think the thing is as well, like, I don't know if you've found this, but like my niece is vegan, so that's great.
Oh, cool.
But for my nephew, Christmas is not Christmas without meat, you know? So I've almost got to try and find stuff that will not only, you know, please a vegan, but will please the carnivores in the family. Well,
I guess it's about, you know, bearing in mind what other people's choices are as well. So some people, because I'm going out to lunch with a friend of mine from school. So we were picking a restaurant. So she said, well, the one I want to go to, they don't have any vegan options. So do you want to pick one? So I picked one, which was a vegan restaurant. And she said, okay, let me look at the menu. She looked at the menu. She said, there is absolutely nothing on that menu that I would eat. So I thought, okay. So I found a restaurant that has vegan options instead. So I thought, well, that will be just to make it fair and to be balanced.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess you know, it's not just Christmas is the C word. I suppose it's compromise as well.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone who's tuning in. It's so lovely to see all of you. There's quite a few of you online. Thank you for your lovely comments. I Am Effect, Sarose, Lucy's Lifestyle, Just Hannah to Be, My Toy, and others. Salad Vision as well. Thank you. She said, keep up the good work, guys. Thank you.
Bless.
Yeah, Shantz MB, The Inspirational Guru, Nicola Campbell one, Princess Prosecco.
Well, that would be handy at Christmas, don't you?
Caitlin Bowtime. Yeah, so it's quite a few. Miss Dolphin. So thank you to everyone who's tuning in. We're talking about Christmas food and what sorts of Christmas options you can have, vegan Christmas options you can have. So anything else, Laura, with regards to the main course?
No, I want to get on to dessert.
Right. So dessert, there's Jamaican Christmas cake. So there's a video on my YouTube channel on how to make that. Or you can have vegan chocolate mousse, and you can have it just as the chocolate mousse. Or you can layer it with fruit and other things as well to make like so you can have like a biscuit layer, then the chocolate mousse, then fruit, then biscuit layer, chocolate mousse, and then finish with fruit on the top and so forth. So that would be nice.
Don't judge me, but I did pick up a little cheat today.
Okay.
So I went into Sainsbury's and they had this vegan chocolate cake reduced to £1.49.
You're good with the bargains, aren't you?
This is all I do. It's the only way I eat is reduced goods or stuff I pick up for free. And the chocolate cake, the best before date is not actually until Boxing Day. But
really?
What I was thinking, yeah, I think it's because I don't know if you can see on the camera, but the cake is cut in two. So it must have been dropped and it's split. But what I was thinking just to, even though it's well within date, I was thinking just to freeze it to keep it fresh until Christmas.
If it says, yeah, if you can, if it says you can freeze it, then yeah, sure, why not? Or
well, yeah.
If not, have you got like a garden shed or an outdoor space that's cold? So that might be good as well.
I didn't think of that. That's good thinking.
Yeah. So dessert-wise, there's that. I do love cornmeal pudding. It's a Jamaican dish called cornmeal pudding. I love it so much. It's made with cornmeal, a tiny bit of flour, coconut milk, nutmeg, cinnamon, raisins.
Oh, nice.
And then it's got, so you bake the bottom and then there's like a custard bit on the top.
Oh, lovely.
It's not custard, but it's made with the coconut milk. It's so nice. It's amazing.
And it's all like the Christmas flavours as well.
Yes. So I'm having a dinner party for my friends from my church on Sunday. So I was speaking to one of my friends today. She said, please, can you make the cornmeal pudding? So I said, okay, I'll make.
Oh. And so what do you do with leftovers?
I usually use them up, to be honest. It depends on what they are. So for example, sometimes I get sent products. So for example, I had a company that sent me lots of tinned vegan stuff, which I'm not keen on. So I tried one of them and it wasn't really for me. So there's a food bank that I found, and I took them to the food bank and they were so happy because they said, because I had about 10, 15 tins, and they said they were struggling because they have people who are vegan, vegetarian and Muslim people as well.
Wow.
And they always need the vegan or vegetarian options and they don't usually have enough. So they said, this is brilliant.
And you know what? That's something that I've never really think about when you think about like food banks, is people's dietary requirements, you know?
Yes.
So I guess that not only is food limited, but then the type of food becomes limited.
Absolutely. I mean, the food bank, I'd never been to one before. So when I went there, I was quite impressed at the variety of stuff that they have. But obviously the demand is greater than the supply that they have. So whenever I get a chance, I usually try and get some stuff to go to the food bank. The only problem is it's only open for you to bring the donations at a restricted time. So it's a bit awkward.
Right.
But, you know, if people need food, that's fine. Or in the Waitrose near me, and also there's a Tesco, they have a basket. So even if you haven't bought it in Tesco, you can bring stuff in and put it in there for people who...
Oh, amazing. I mean, so important this time of year as well, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so...
And
yeah,
so
that's
what Christmas...
So
when it comes to Christmas, we've got like sort of our starters, our mains, our desserts. Yeah. What about the next day? You know, it's Boxing Day. You're all lying around watching EastEnders. What are we eating on Boxing Day?
I tell you what, I only noticed over the past couple of years that people have like celebratory food for like the whole week, some of them. I just thought that's why they're putting on weight. For me, in my family, we only have that celebratory food thing on Christmas Day. After that, you go back to eating normally. You may have a few little treats, but nothing great, you know, nothing, you know, different. You just use up the food that you had left over from Christmas. So I go to my family's house, my dad's house, on Christmas Day with all my siblings and nieces and nephews and so forth. And then whatever's left over, we'll kind of divide it up and gets eaten, basically.
And so what sort of stuff, I mean, I suppose like you mentioned the soup for starters, well, I guess we could do like another soup for Boxing Day, and you said about the main with the chickpeas, so could we do something like a chickpea curry the next day?
Yeah, you could do a chickpea curry the next day, and if you've got chickpeas left over, there's that, it's called a chickpea, it's like a vegan tuna thing. So it's
yes.
Yeah, well, I make it so it doesn't have that fishy sort of taste because I don't like seaweed and stuff like that. That's
right.
But what I do is I make it with its chickpeas, dill,
dill.
onion. I think it's a little bit of paprika and the vegan mayonnaise, and it tastes really nice on sandwiches. It's really lovely. I like that.
Oh, well, I have got lots of vegan mayonnaise, actually. So it might have sandwiches on Boxing Day.
Which brands do you get?
I don't know if you've heard of an app called Olio, and it's a food sharing app. So OLIO, and basically people distribute food on there. So at the moment, so if you was going on holiday, you was moving house, like there was an event, any food that's not used up, you can distribute on the app. And so I actually ended up with loads of tins of the Hellmann's vegan mayonnaise that I had via the app. Yeah, so that's another
How
thing
do you
I'll
spell
do.
that?
Olio. Let's see if I can write it on here.
Okay. And it's
Yeah,
it's a food distribution.
Yeah, it's a food sharing app. So
Food sharing. I'm just going to put it in the comments.
Yeah, let me write that. It's a food sharing app, Olio, and again, it can be a really good thing at this time of year if you've got loads of stuff sort of left over from Christmas and you want to get rid of it. I'm trying to get on my comment box now. It can be another good way of just distributing stuff on the app. And I think especially, you know, what it's like, I think after Christmas Day when people have had enough of eating and maybe, you know, like it's a few days in, I think people get a bit sick of the sight of food. So if you have got surplus food, it's just a great way of sharing it.
I mean, what I do sometimes is I will bring food with me to church, because at my church there's about 300 people and they usually have a potluck every Saturday, because we go to church on Saturday because I'm Seventh-day Adventist. So I'll bring it to church. Or what I'm going to start to do also is, if I have any food that is surplus, is bring it on Wednesday. Our church has a prayer meeting on Wednesday evening at 7:30, so I can always bring it there as well, because they also run feeding programs for programs in the church for people who are on a low income or unemployed or struggling in some way.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, they usually do that, because my church usually, I think it's the first Sunday in every month, they have like a community, they call it a coffee morning, and it's really for people who are homeless. It's mainly for people who are homeless, but there are some people who've come forward and said, I'm going to be really honest, I'm not homeless, but if I bring my food, can I come? They just
I was actually thinking you might see me at this church soon with my my empty plate.
Yeah, so what they said to the ones who said that they're not homeless, they said, it's all right, you don't have to bring any food, just come, it's okay. Because I thought, well, if you're going to say, oh, I'm going to bring my food and come, then, you know, they just want some company, so it's
And I think it's lovely because it, you know, it promotes community, doesn't it? And it gets people together. And I suppose that's what I really love about food. It's not just the eating, but it's the social aspect as well.
Yeah, so along with the food, they give out clothes, shoes, toiletries and stuff like that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool. One of your other recipes, actually, I was looking at was butterbean falafels. Yes. But because I've got kidney beans, I was thinking to substitute the butter beans for kidney beans. What do you think?
You could, it would change the flavour, but the texture is not too dissimilar. So, yeah, you could try it.
Yeah, and I suppose I was just trying to think of a way of, I've actually found the soup as well, of just using up stuff that I've already got. So I guess the squash and the sweet potato soup you mentioned, there it is. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've been having a right old look through. I like the look of the meatless loaf as well. Like, I actually think that would make quite a good Christmas dinner.
Okay. How did you find, you know, the beginning bit where it's got tips for different things like replacing eggs and so forth? That's at the beginning and so forth. Did you find that useful?
I really do, yeah, because I think the thing is, it can feel so daunting, can't it? You know, it's I think especially if it's new, and things like I like the substitutes, not only from sort of a vegan point of view, but because I guess I'm concerned with using up what you've got, you know. So I like the fact that if I don't have, you know, vegan butter, but I've got oil, I can substitute it. And you know, and things like bananas, if I get them and they go in soft, I always keep them in the freezer. So I think it's really handy to have, you know. It's really great as a guide as well. Okay, lovely. Yeah, so no, I think the book is fantastic. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I mean, I know you've written books that are not just for children, but I like the fact that he does, you know, it's easy recipes as well that children can get involved with. And sort of colourful, bright recipes?
Well, I've had a couple of adults buy the book, and they said, to be honest, I haven't got any kids, but I just thought if it's a kid's book, then I must be able to do the recipes.
Because I think that's the thing as well. You know, people are busy, aren't they? People are busy during the week. We're all living busy lives. And actually, I think whether you've got children or you haven't, time is of the essence, you
Absolutely,
know?
yeah.
So I think you want to be able to make stuff that is easily prepared. Nobody wants to be slaving away in a kitchen for ages.
But I also did the recipes in the book so that wherever you are in the world, the ingredients are ones you've heard of and you can find.
That is so important, because I don't want to be having to go on Amazon to look for ingredients, you know, like.
And then or you go to you have to find a specialist health shop, and then you go in there, and then they have to back order it for you. And no, it's not.
And it becomes pricey. And I think the thing is about not just a vegan diet, but a healthy diet. It needs to be accessible, and people need to feel that they can relate and access it. Otherwise, you know, it then becomes something, again, that is daunting. Whereas things like, even where you've got the baked chickpeas, I mean, you know, you can get a tin of everyday value chickpeas for next to nothing. And this is
30p.
And then this is like a really simple snack that you've got on hand. Or, you know, you could even do something like that and add it to a salad. So, yeah, no, I think it's absolutely fantastic. You know, it's creative and it keeps it interesting.
And thank you for your tips on food waste and so forth, because particularly at this time of year, well, I try to do it throughout the year, is think of people who don't have enough to eat.
Yeah.
So what I can do, so what I usually do is collect, like I go to lots of exhibitions and events, and you know they give out those cloth bags. So I usually stockpile them, and then I'll put in there like a bottle of water, wet wipes, little toothbrush, toothpaste, snacks and stuff like that. So when I see somebody who's homeless, I give them the bag.
That's a really good idea. You know, and I think it's really important what you said about food banks and people that are accessing food banks, you know, could be following a whole range of different diets, vegetarianism, veganism, a halal diet, you know. So I think it's often sometimes where people are perhaps less fortunate, sometimes we lose sight of the fact that they still want a healthy, nourishing food. You know, food makes us feel good, it enables us to function. It's really a starting point, isn't it?
When I realized what food banks are like, because I mean I'd heard of them, but I didn't actually know what they looked like and you know what they were for exactly. I was watching the film I, Daniel Blake.
Okay, I've not seen it, but I've heard about it.
Brilliant film. It's a Ken Loach film, and in it the lady has to go to a food bank. So I read the backstory of when they filmed it, what they did, because Ken Loach likes people to kind of live out what they're kind of doing in the film. So what they did, he went to a real food bank and said, right, this is the character she's playing, and she's going to come in, and I just want you to react exactly as you would, as if she was somebody who came in. And it was unbelievable. It was shocking to see that she was so hungry that she took something off the shelf and just stuffed it in her mouth, because obviously you're not supposed to do that in the food bank, but she'd been so hungry because she had no money to buy anything to eat. So that's when I thought, you know what, it's better to, if I've got extra food, to give it to somebody who needs it. Always so many people who need stuff.
Well, that's it, you know, it's absolutely, it's what connects us all, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And in terms of, I just wanted to ask as well, like, do you have any tips for people that perhaps they want their children to get more like fruit and veg in their diets? You know, do you have any tips for that?
I do. What I would say with regards kids eating fruit and veg, it depends on the stage which they're starting from, because I know there are some people whose children unfortunately say, no, I don't eat fruit and no, I don't eat vegetables. I would say take them to the supermarket and get them to look around and introduce them to the fruit and kind of get them to see what this is this and that is that, and get them to be more involved in the preparation of
I think it's so important, yeah.
Yeah, and if the child says, oh, I don't like fruit, I would kind of challenge that slightly and say, well, there's a lot of different fruit. So I understand you're not going to like all of them, but there must be one that you like the smell of and the shape of and the texture. Because sometimes what children don't like, or people in general don't like, is not necessarily the flavor, it's the texture.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's finding out what, if they don't like it, what about it do they not like? Because maybe they don't like it, the citrusy one, or maybe they don't like if it's hard. Some kids like crunchy ones, some like soft ones. So introducing them, say, look, there's so many different fruits. Let's have a look and see if there's a couple that you like, and just buy the ones they like. Or maybe they prefer the fruit prepared a different way. Because for me, I'm kind of weird. I'll eat tomatoes sliced, but you know, some people can just pick up a tomato and put it in their mouth. I can't do that. That's weird. Unless it's a cherry tomato, which again makes no sense because it's still the same tomato. So it depends on, you know, what sort of point you're starting from, and also just encourage them to eat vegetables like the crudités, like the carrot sticks and things like that. See which ones they like, because like I like carrot sticks, I like cucumber sticks, but I don't like celery sticks. So it's just finding out what children like and going with that particular
And I think that's a great tip. If they've got a selection and then they feel like they're involved, they feel like they've had a choice, and you know, and I think you put a selection of food in front of most of us, adults or children, there's going to be something that we're going to pick and enjoy.
Yes, definitely. And one of the things I've done recently, and I'm doing this weekend because at my church there's a Children's Day. So what I'm making some cakes, but I'm also making fruit skewers. So I think you saw them at my book launch. Yeah. The skewers, and then you just alternate the different fruits so it looks colourful, make little shapes and so forth, and those go down really well.
Well, and I think, and naturally we're drawn to that, aren't we? Because, I mean, you know, I am no longer a child, but I do still love party food. Like, that is probably one of my favourite foods, you know. I think just being at a party, I don't know what it is, but I love party food. And maybe there is something in that it's fun, it's joyous, you know, happy memories, there's a selection, and, you know, so even things like, you know, in your book, you've got these bugs on the log.
Yeah.
Like, I love things like that because I just think it makes it fun and interesting.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So the fruit skewers that I did, I put, you know, they were in those pot things. I wasn't sure if people realised you can take them and eat them, and they weren't just there to decorate. So I kind of looked around and they were there, and then when the next time I looked around, gone. So I thought, okay, those went down really well. So yeah, so they're a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fruit. It's just fruit, nothing else. So
yeah,
just the way it's presented, and it looks colourful and easy to eat for little hands and stuff as well. Just absolutely.
And then I guess, like you said as well, you then get, like, everybody's involved then, aren't they? You know, it's fun and it's interesting. And I suppose for children, they've then created something, haven't they? You know, and it's all been really quite rewarding. Whereas I think the difficulty is if children are not involved with food and the cooking process, then almost it's something that's being done to them. So they're presented with a meal, eat this, you know, and so I think at least if they are involved, it changes up the dynamics. It's also encouraging them to try different things, different foods as well, because you know you come across some kids and their parents say, they only eat chicken nuggets. Well, who's buying the chicken nuggets? Absolutely, yeah. So it's encouraging them just to broaden their horizons and just try something different and so forth as well. Yeah, because I think they'll thank you for it in the long run, won't they? You know, because I think, you know, cooking is it's a skill that you want in adult life. Yeah, it is a life skill. Absolutely, it's a life skill. You know, eating is not something we can do without. No, not at all. Okay, so
I think we're gonna go now. I think we've been online for quite a little while.
Oh yeah,
wonderful talking to you. Unless you had anything more to say.
No, I think we've covered it. We've now what? We've got Christmas covered. We've got kids covered. We've got food banks covered. Food sharing covered. Yeah. And I will keep you posted on whatever I make out of the book. And I'm excited to see what else you've got going on and what else you're going to be up to.
I'll DM you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be there's gonna be a series made based on the book, so a TV series. So that will be the early part of next year. The filming will begin. So
fantastic! How exciting!
Yeah, I can't wait.
Oh, so 2020 is a good year.
Yes. So 2019 has finished off quite well for me. Well, and then 2020 is going to open with a bang. So
amazing. Well, the best of luck with it all.
Thank you so much. Okay, and keep me posted on what you're up to as well.
Yeah, definitely. Take care.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.